Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm speaking to Mr. B. Mukherjee, the Deputy Director of the Indian Chamber of Commerce, and we were discussing about the Indian Chamber of Commerce and its initiatives and the event which is happening tomorrow.
Right. Now, as I had just mentioned that we have evolved as the strongest chamber for the eastern, the northeastern part. We are actually the nodal chamber for the northeastern part of the country, which has been given by the donor ministry, Government of India. Donor ministry is the Ministry for the Development of Northeast region, and Northeast being the gateway to Southeast Asia. So Indian Chamber of Commerce has actively involved itself in various activities, initiatives in almost all the countries of South and Southeast Asia. Whether it is Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, so on and so forth, Bangladesh, Myanmar, we have been very, very active. We have, worked very closely with their national chambers in each of these countries. We have been very, very close with our Indian missions there, organized various initiatives. In fact, last year we had done a similar program in Bangladesh, in Dhaka. That was, of course, focused on the electrical equipment and the energy sector, because Bangladesh is an energy scarce country. So the focus was completely on energy and renewable energy and the energy efficient equipments. So this time we have come to Sri Lanka because I think this is the most opportune time when Sri Lanka going through an infra boom, looking at opportunities where they can actually look at the development in their construction sector, infrastructure sector. Who else but India, their closest neighbor, should come forward and collaborate. In fact, very recently there has been an MOU which has been signed by both the governments as the first step, where an Indian government has extended its help to this island country in developing few thousands households for Sri Lanka, especially in the northern and the eastern part of this country. So we thought that this would be the most opportune time when we should actually organize a program like this to create a platform wherein it should not only get restricted to the interactions between two governments, but also the stakeholders, the people who are actually in this particular sector, the business community. They should also get to interact, understand the opportunities. And it is not only an opportunity in Sri Lanka, but there are enough and more opportunities that are there in India as well, wherein through this interaction, I'm sure even the Sri Lankan companies would get to understand how they can collaborate, how they can tie up with Indian companies, primarily, of course, for the development of this island country, but as well, if they want, they should also look at opportunities through which they can operate, go beyond borders, operate in India as well. Because I'm sure there are certain areas where even the Sri Lankan companies would have competitive advantage. So it would be the ideal platform to explore both.
That is true. And just before we wind up, just a quick reminder about the conference which is beginning tomorrow. For those of you all who are interested, it is beginning on the 26th and will be going on till the 28th. It is open to the public from...
It is open to the public for 26th, 5:30 p.m. when we start the exhibition, and I would urge all the stakeholders, all the people connected with this particular sector to be a part of the inaugural session as well, which starts exactly at 4 o'clock, and post which we'll have the inauguration of the exhibition at 5:30. So I would urge all my friends in Sri Lanka to come in large numbers. You have an option of dropping in on the 26th. It will be open throughout the day from 10 to 7 on the 27th, and there will be the exhibition open till about 6 o'clock from 10 o'clock in the morning on the 28th as well. And I would really look forward to your wholehearted participation, and I would want all my friends to come explore opportunities through this particular program, India Invest Trade 2012 in Colombo.
Yes. And of course, with that, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It was a real treat having you on the show.
Oh, it was a pleasure from my side as well. Thank you so much.
Right now, we're going to take a short commercial break. I'll see you guys on the other side with a lot more Good Morning Sri Lanka. Hello everyone, welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. For those of you all who are just joining me, you have not missed all of the show. There is still some of the show left behind. Right now I'm going to get into what is actually happening tomorrow. Tomorrow is World Intellectual Property Day, and today we're going to be talking about World Intellectual Property a little bit in advance, but it's definitely a subject that has to be covered. And now every year on the 26th of April, the world celebrates World Intellectual Property Day. And this day celebrates the innovation and creativity of individuals, as well as how intellectual property fosters and encourages people to be creative. Now, the World Intellectual Property Day of 2012 focuses on visionary innovators, in particular, just those people who make all these creative things happen around us. Individuals whose ingenuity and artistry have broken molds, opened new horizons, and made a lasting impact. Now, on the phone, we have Mr. D.M. Karunaratna from the National Intellectual Property Office to speak to us more about the subject. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Brilliant. Now we're going to be talking about intellectual property. Could you tell me a little bit about the function of your office?
Yes, our Intellectual Property Office is the focal point on intellectual property in Sri Lanka, and we administer the intellectual property system, all entire intellectual property system in Sri Lanka, including registration, awareness building, etc., etc., etc. Yes.
Now, for people who might be a little confused, could you tell us a little bit about intellectual property? What does it encompass? And is there... yes, and what is the need to protect it so much?
Intellectual property simply is the result of human creative efforts, and it's a set of rights arising from human creative efforts like inventions, literary and artistic works, industrial designs, so on and so forth. And there are certain types of intellectual property rights which are protected upon registration, such as inventions through patents and trademarks, industrial designs, and so on and so forth. And of course, there are some other rights like copyright, the rights attached to literary and artistic works. They are protected purely on the creation of the particular work and without any formality, like registration, like classification, say for example, Ceylon cinnamon, Ceylon sapphire, Ceylon tea, etc. They also protected without registration. And of course, once you have the protectable intellectual property rights, they can be enforced through courts. The violation of intellectual property rights is an offence. And like any other offence, of course, the police can take action. And the violation of intellectual property also can result in civil litigation. The owner of the rights is entitled to ask for compensation, etc., etc. And of course, there is another area which is called intellectual property asset management. So you have some sort of intellectual property. You must know how to manage, protect it, commercialize it, monitor it, etc., etc. So it's a whole gamut of exercise comes under intellectual property regime.
It is quite a big umbrella, but going into a little bit of detail about what you mentioned, now the artistic efforts of individuals such as paintings, music, things that they create, books and things like that.
I don't hear you properly.
Okay.
Sorry.
I speak a little louder. Now, certain intellectual properties such as pieces of art, sculpture, paintings, music, songs and things like that, those are very individualistic. It's very personal to the person who creates them. But very few people are actually in a position to sue or bring litigation upon people who steal their ideas. What would you recommend for people who find that they are, their ideas have been stolen? What protection can they get from intellectual property?
Actually, in a country like Sri Lanka, mostly the innovations, inventions, creations are actually individual based, not really corporate. There may be certain instances where are corporate innovations, but actually we must remember, always keep in mind that a company cannot create. Actually, the creator is an individual. So it's the source of creativity comes from an individual, a person. When an individual creates, of course, it belongs to him. But an individual creates as an employee, then of course the particular creation may belong to the particular corporate entity. So anyway, there are rights. When you create a particular thing, your rights depend on the particular area of the intellectual property. Say for example, when you create, say for example, you write a book, article, project proposal, develop a computer software, these areas come under copyright law. Then of course, as the author, always you have the moral rights, and of course you have economic rights. Sometimes if you are employed, of course the economic rights go to the employer. In such situation, of course, there are, as I mentioned, you have two mechanisms. One is you can make the complaint to the police. Of course, we have, now Sri Lanka Police has established a special unit known as the Anti-Piracy and Counterfeit Unit. There are officers who are capable of investigating and prosecuting, and that is the first mechanism that the owner of the IP right can resort to protect their rights. And of course, then there is a civil litigation. We have Sri Lanka, we have established a special court known as Commercial High Court, always judged by a learned senior judge, and we get a very efficient judicial process there, and you can seek the remedies through the civil process as well. Actually, this is always intellectual property rights is generally individual right, a private right. So what the government does is make the environment for better management and enforcement of rights. Then it's for the owners to protect their rights and manage their rights as their private rights.
Before we run out of time, I did have a question to ask in relation to the indigenous knowledge of Sri Lanka. Now, we have a lot of indigenous knowledge in the form of natural herbs and medicinal plants and the Ayurvedic treatments. Can we profit from this in the international market by patenting some of these as innovative products by more investments in and research done into development?
This is actually a serious issue. Traditional knowledge, genetic resources, and sometimes expressions of folklore. And there is, we in Sri Lanka also very much mindful of what's happening around the globe. And the World Intellectual Property Organization, they are negotiating a treaty on